Parkersburg hosted the Mountain State Athletic Conference Championship for boys wrestling. Going into the semifinals, Parkersburg sat in third place with 62.5 total points. Let's take a look at how some of that action shook out. Here is a semifinal matchup between Parkersburg's Seth Drennan and Hurricanes' Jake Welsh. Drennan makes quick work of Welsh here, getting the early pin, and he moves on to the championship round of the 106-pound class, where he would go on to beat Bryson Simmons of Midland. And as promised, we'll now show you the results from the tournament. The Big Reds take home the #1 hardware as they win comfortably with 249 total points. They had 5 wrestlers place in first. As I mentioned earlier, Seth Drennan is the champion of the 106-pound class. CJ Carotas took first in the 120-pound class. Stephen Myers in the 132. Dominic Way in the 138. And last but not least, Lars Cooper placed first in the 150-pound class. What a big day for the PHS wrestling squad.